All right, here we go, guys. It's Orion here again with Flight School, and I am going to talk about my trade with EMH that I did today. I didn't trade in my NASDAQ account because I missed entry on IDXG, but I decided to trade in my TFSA account in the MJ sector, and I managed to sneak a nice, quick little trade in here. I had a little, not so much a loss, but a stop loss on PUF. I got in yesterday at 36 cents, and today I sold at 34 cents when I started seeing support crumble. It came back and closed at like 36.5 or 0.365 on the day, so I was a little bummed about that, but I managed to jump into EMH and recoup a little bit of my losses from that stop loss. So I'll just go ahead and cover this stock here. I love this stock. I don't know why. I've got a weird sentimental attachment to it. And I've been watching it for so long that I really started to know the levels. So 135, we came down here. We sold off in the morning here, came down and tested 135. 135 was a bought deal back in February, early February. I believe it was like $17 million at 130. Shares were going at $1.35. So, I'm very familiar with this. I know that 135 was resistance for a long time. And in that area, and I know that it's come down here and tried to test a few times. I saw like 70K on the bid, so I got long with 1,000 shares at 138, and it came down here, tested 135, and I just watched level 2, and I told myself, all right, if the bid gets bought up 135, I'll just bail out for the last bid, or I'll bail out at 134, take a 4-cent loss. I took 1,000 shares, which I'm really impressed with, because 3 weeks ago, I was taking 800 shares of this stock, and that was with confidence. And then last week I was taking 900 shares of this stock with confidence, and this week I'm now taking 1,000 shares of this stock. So based on my risk versus reward, based on my confidence in my skills and confidence in my learning of charts, and respecting my discipline and my stop losses, I'm really starting to feel, not cocky, but more confident in taking a little bit more size on, and kind of opening up that window. So I saw the wall here at 144. I think it was 60,000 or 45,000 on the ask at 144. So as soon as I got filled at 148, I just put in my sell order right away at 143, and I just kind of watched it. I was going to run a manual stop, and I just kind of watched this stock here. I had a couple alerts set at 136, and as soon as it bounced off of 135, it actually moved back up, fairly quickly, without any hesitation or pullback. We came up here and got 142, a little bit of hesitation, and we ended up pulling back down here to 139. I believe I had my alert set at 136, so if 136 came off, I would have opened up my platform, jumped in there, and I probably would have gotten ready to sell for a loss if I saw 135 getting chewed up on the bid. So yeah, it didn't. So it came down here, tapped 139, then it pulled right up and hit 143, and I filled my order. It was only 5 cents per share at 1,000 shares, so $50 minus commissions. It wasn't a fortune or anything, but really what I'm working on here is learning about scaling up in my share size, following my discipline on my risk versus reward, and following my discipline on my stop loss, and not getting caught up in the trade and the momentum, setting my sell and locking in profits right away. And sure enough, look at this, double top at 143, and we ended up kind of not selling off, but we meandered back down to 138 where I bought. So it was a little quick trade. I wasn't anticipating it was going to be a long trade. I wasn't going to really hold it overnight. I wasn't interested in that. I did think about, okay, this is a nice low entry. I could probably hold on to it for a couple of days. But then I thought, after I got in, I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to stick to my trading plan, and I'm just going to do a quick 5-cent pull here and get out. Because as my share size starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I'd love to be able to jump in these with 5,000 shares, and pull out $250 on a quick little trade. I know it's a little scalp. It's nothing to write home about, but it's getting confident, hitting buy, hitting sell, sticking to your guns, sticking to your trading plan, and slowly scaling up your share size so that way you can get comfortable jumping in any sort of momentum trade with, 2,000 plus shares and pulling out some profits on the day. I want to be an intraday swing trader, and that's what I look for. That's what I look for is momentum, a bit of volatility, nice little bottom bounces. I'm starting to get better and better at these bottom bounces. I know you can never predict bottom, but if you see it coming down, you know the stock, you know the support levels. I see nothing wrong with jumping in as long as you have a set stop loss and you're ready to bail out. If it bounces and it takes off, there's your reward. If it doesn't, well, you've set your risk limit and you can get out of the trade with, a couple of little wounds that you can lick and start looking for the next one. So that's what I got on EMH, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into some trading tomorrow. A lot of earnings and stuff are coming out. MJ sector might see a short little turnaround. If you just look on the daily here, a lot of the charts in the MJ sector are starting to look like this big spike coming down. We're going to see some consolidation, I would think, kind of around these levels where it popped off from. And then I'd like to see a couple little bounces in here, maybe some 10-cent range bound stuff between a couple of moving averages. But we'll see what happens and plays out over the next few days. I'm just starting to really get used to learning to read charts, daily charts and weekly charts better at projecting. I'm trying to project a little more in the future. I'm pretty focused right now on intraday and finding previous support and resistance levels and finding my plays that way. But as I'm starting to learn more, I really want to focus on projecting a little further and maybe getting into some, 2 to 10 trading session swings and locking down a little more profits that way. So always keep learning, always keep studying. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, comment on the video, like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the trading floor tomorrow. All right.